What's going on there, guys? My name is Matt, or Chewy as most of you will know me as, and welcome to a hotly anticipated video here on my YouTube channel. I've had months and months of comments of people asking me how I get my simulator to look like it does, and what bits of software I use, and what I also recommend for people to use in their simulators. Before we get started, let me just say that this video is not going to be about my individual settings on Prepared. You can find all of that information and things like my config as well down in the description notes below. However, I will not be bringing up my Prepared settings and explaining them on this video. I can do that potentially on another video. On another note as well, before we get started, this video is as of today, which is the 4th of August 2018. Things will change in my simulator. It's always good to keep your sim dynamic, to change things up, so to speak, and to, be trying out different software if you have it available to you. And so please be aware that if you're watching this video 6 months down the line, there is a very high chance that different things will be in use. So without further ado, let's get started and we'll get right into the sim. So obviously the simulator that I'm mainly using here on my YouTube and on my Twitch channel is Lockheed Martin's Prepared version 4.3. I use the professional license and I get a lot of questions from viewers asking me, Chewy, is there any difference between the professional version and the academic version? A lot of people don't know which license to get. The only difference between the sims is the actual licensing rules, which you can read on the Lockheed Martin website, and also there's a little academic license watermark in the top right-hand corner for that specific license. Apart from that, the simulators, as far as I know, are exactly the same thing. So that's my current simulator. What I will start off with doing here is showing you all of the software that I use on my gaming PC. So I actually run my simulator over 2 computers, and mainly this is because I live stream every single day throughout the weekdays, Monday to Friday, every week. And so it's really useful to me to be able to have a computer that I can offload all of my encoding and production work for the stream, but also offload some more things from the simulator. So for example, you won't actually see Active Sky, which is my weather provider, which I'll talk about later. You won't actually see that installed on my gaming PC. It's actually installed on my streaming PC. So if you see me starting to rattle off software, as we look first at the gaming rig, and you're like, where are these other softwares? Keep watching till the end of the video because they'll probably appear on the streaming PC rig, which we will go through second. In the background on the screen, I've had various screenshots show for you guys of examples of how my simulator has been looking. I like to keep a collection of screenshots. And so this is just an example of the results that I've currently got from my simulator and these bits of software, which I'm about to start showing you. So let's go and have a look here. I'm bringing you onto the screen now, and the first bit of software I'd like to show you guys is Chaseplane. This is a bit of software which essentially controls all of my cameras. So here we are, we're loaded in at San Francisco International, the flight beam scenery in the PMDG 747 British Airways. And we've got the PMDG 747 profile here that I have created for the aircraft. So you can create different profiles for all of your different aircraft in the sim. It's all saved on a cloud system. So if you ever have to uninstall Chaseplane or reinstall your simulator, it's no bother whatsoever because you can just reinstall the software and it will automatically pick up all of your views from the cloud. So Chaseplane is the bit of software, as I say, that I use for all of my camera views. You can have motion effects. You can change various different things. You've got this hot corners features, you can have portals, all different types of things. And if you're really lazy, you can even download people's views. So let me just double check if this works actually. I believe if you type user semicolon and then Chewy94, you should be able to pick up all of my views. And as you can see, there's actually quite a lot of people using various different views of mine, and you can test them in the sim. Obviously, I'm looking at views now for other aircraft, so they're looking a little bit weird in this PMDG 747. But this is a really useful feature to people who are new to Chaseplane, is the fact that you can actually go to the community and you can search in for a user or search in for an aircraft type, and you'll be able to download views for it. So I can highly recommend Chaseplane. It is by far one of my favorite bits of software that I have available to me in my simulator. The next thing, which is a big one, is Rex Skyforce HD. And what I use Rex Skyforce for is a lot of the textures. So if you have a look on the right-hand side here of the display, I use Rex for all of my cloud textures. At the moment, I'm using set 15 for the 3D clouds. The cirrus clouds, I use set 5. Dawn is 23, day sky is 02, and dusk sky is 11. We're on the 10-day sky cycle with set number 1. Set number 9 for the sun, and the moon is set number 1 with lightning set 6. So Rex Skyforce also does have an option to provide a weather engine for the simulator. I don't use that, okay? So I do not have the weather engine turned on, as you can see at the top here. The only thing that Rex Skyforce 3D does for me is it injects the textures for all of the things that I have just listed here. I've used other bits of software in the past, for example, Active Sky Cloud Art, ASCA, as it's commonly known as, also Rex Soft Clouds, which was the previous product from the Rex team. But at the moment, I'm using Skyforce 3D, and I absolutely love it. I've been using it for a couple of months now and can highly recommend it. It also comes with PTA presets if you do use PTA. The next thing that I use, which I can show you guys, let me just close these down. What can we go into next? This is a little bit of software, which is actually really useful. This is called Edit Pro. And it's got various different features, but the feature that I use it for is to enable and disable scenery in my scenery config without having to load up the simulator. So if you've ever, got a list of different sceneries that you've installed into your sim, and for whatever reason you may want to, untick some scenery if you're loading in and you're getting really slow loading times, or if it's lagging your simulator and your FPS is diminishing, for example, potentially. I use this bit of software because it means that I don't have to sit and wait for the boring prepared splash screen to load up to then go into the settings and change my scenery library. I can do so completely off the simulator here. So this is called Edit Pro, which is really, really, really useful. It's a little tool, but as I say, I find it thoroughly useful. Next up from there, we've got my my night lighting. I use Black Marble night lighting from Crispell Creative Design Studios. At the moment, I have the base package, the vector package, as well as also the Stargazer package installed from Chris. And he's a very good friend of my live stream, so a big shout out for him for being able to provide all of the software for my night lighting. Again, there have been some screenshots which are being showed for you guys, showing you examples of what the night lighting looks like. I get a lot of questions asking me whether I'm using just the default Orbex night lighting, and the answer is no. I use Black Marble night lighting, which is expensive as you start to pick up more and more of the different packages that are available from the website here. But I think it's worth it. It's really, really evolved my lighting and taking it to the next level in the simulator. Another thing that's taken my simulator to the next level is tomato shade, and I get a lot of questions from people asking me what is the difference between tomato shade, M shade, PTA, blah 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 blah, because there's so many out there now, and essentially they all really do the same thing as far as I'm aware anyway. They essentially edit the shaders in your simulator, and recently I've been using tomato shade and I've been absolutely loving it. It really concentrates on the dynamic reflection and the fuselage of the aircraft, and just really adds another level of depth to it. It does have a performance impact, but to me it's worth it. I'd rather have a little less FPS and have my sim looking that bit more special, because it's really, really cool to have a great tomato shade profile whilst being able to wander around the aircraft and have a look at the jetways glistening on the side of the fuselage as you see their reflection. So I can highly recommend tomato shade, and there's actually no bad side to trying out tomato shade, because it's completely free. Unlike other bits of software such as M shade and PTA, which are now payware bits of software, tomato shade is entirely free, and so you can try it out, and if you don't like it, or if you don't like the performance impact that it may give, then you can simply uninstall it and get back to your original shaders and then move to another bit of software if you feel free. So this is, a rather hotly talked about topic in the past few months with Prepared, are the shader bits of software, and at the moment my personal choice is tomato shade. Another one which is really useful to show you guys is vPilot, as well as my model matching. So vPilot is the bit of software that I use to connect to the VATSIM network. And because I actually have that double PC setup that I talked about earlier on, I actually use two bits of software. So I have the vPilot host mode client. Sorry, that's not the right word. Client is on the other computer. I have the vPilot host mode software here on the gaming PC, and this connects up to my model matching. I'll leave a link for the model matching down in the description below, but as of today I am using FLAI model matching, which as you can see has got over 1,600 identified models. It was recently released within about the past week or so of me actually recording this video, and I'm thoroughly impressed with it. It was previously called BVAI and released by the guys from Boston on VATSIM, but has evolved since then. So this is a really, really awesome bit of software for your model matching with the vPilot in the background there. Just a couple more things to show on the gaming PC. First of all is Fly Live. This bit of software outputs data from FSU IPC and will give us information such as your aircraft information, the simulator information, and you can also use a flight dispatcher and have an ETA and your time to go and your distance to go, and various other features as well. I'll obviously leave a link to all of these bits of software down in the description so you can go and check out Fly Live. But again, I get a lot of people questioning me, how do I get live information onto my live stream of what my altitude is for my viewers to see, what my landing rate is, various information like that, and I use Fly Live for this. Another bit of software used from the same developer actually is called Fly Chrono, and this is how I sync up my simulator to real time. So as you can see here, the Sim Zulu is 2133.02 and the real Zulu is 2133.08. So we are literally 2 seconds out from the real world Zulu right now in the simulator, and this just makes it, you know, a little bit less of a hassle in keeping your simulator synced up, because I've been told that Prepar3d loves to even if you do load into the real Zulu time on your own, as the simulator stays on for hours and hours, apparently it gets further and further out of sync with real time. I don't know if that's completely true, that's just what I've been told. And so Fly Chrono will eliminate any possibility of that, and it will just ensure that your simulator is always on the correct time zone and that you're not making any silly errors there. We're going to actually switch over to my internet browser for the last few bits of software. Well, here's FLAI, which I actually mentioned earlier on. This is the website for it, which again, I'll have in the description below. But one other useful thing that I use is Navigraph charts. So this is just an example. I've got up San Francisco Airport where I'm currently loaded in to the simulator in the background there. And I use this for all of my airport charts. It's a really, really, really useful bit of software. I feel like Navigraph is underrated nowadays. A lot of people who are new to simulating may not realize the importance of charts and knowing, you know, the correct procedures for airports. And not only that, but just the simple things like, for example, here at San Francisco, you can see just the taxiway, you know, names and seeing where you'll need to be going in which direction to reach which runway and various other examples like that. You can also have all of your departure information, your approach information, various other bits of referencing and all sorts on here. And what Navigraph also do is not only airport charts, but they also provide navigation data. And if you don't know what that is, AirAC data or navigation data is essentially, to keep it very, very simple, like keeping your car satellite navigation up to date. So every single month we get a new navigation data which lasts for, again, about a month, and it just updates all of the different, you know, SIDs and stars and various other bits of navigational information for your FMCs in your aircraft. And this is really important when you're flying on networks like VATSIM, because the controllers will always be on the most up-to-date navigational data. And so if your navigation data in your aircraft is from 3 years ago, there's a good chance that some of those procedures which the air traffic controller will be asking you to do will have changed since the information that you've currently got loaded into your system. So Navigraph offer a package where you can get the airport charts and also the navigation data together. You can pay monthly, you can pay yearly, and it's just really great. So that's all of the software that I'm currently using as of right now and have open every single day on my gaming system. Let's switch across to the streaming computer now, and we can go and have a look and see what I use over here. So again, I've got another instance of Fly Live open. This is just simply for the streaming PC, and the way that I've actually been able to connect Fly Live onto the streaming PC is via another bit of software called WideFS. And essentially what WideFS does is it takes the information from FSUIPC and ports it over your home internet network and can make it available on another computer. So this is why Fly Live is currently getting our information, and it's still getting exactly the same information as we earlier saw with Fly Live on the gaming PC in real time, even though the flight simulator is actually not connected to the streaming computer. You know, it's the flight simulator is not running on this secondary PC here, but Fly Live still receives the information for it via that WideFS software, which you can get in bundle with FSUIPC. We talked about this earlier on, and we'll mention it now. Active Sky. This is my weather software. So I talked about Rex Skyforce earlier on and how Rex Skyforce does have a weather engine, but I don't use it. I use Active Sky for Prepar3d for my weather engine. This is, at the moment, the most realistic, the most accurate, and the best, in my opinion, weather injector software that we've currently got available to us. Everybody and their dog who owns Prepared uses Active Sky. It is one of the first, if not the first, bit of software that I recommend for people to get if they are getting prepared, because it really does a very good job. It doesn't provide any of the textures that I talked about earlier on, like the cloud textures and how they look, but it will inject all of the cloud models into the simulator. You can do various modes. You can have the weather control set up for live weather, which is what I always use. You can have historical weather, or if you fancy a change, you can use custom weather as well and create some pretty crazy storms and see if you can fly around in those. So Active Sky, in my opinion, is essential. I use it every single day, and well, couldn't imagine not using it. Another big bit of software which recently gained a massive upgrade and came out with version 2 is Avlasoft Electronic Flight Bag. And as you can see, this has kind of got a similar layout to Navigraph Charts, but essentially what Avlasoft is it's an electronic flight bag that you can keep up with live information of the aircraft. So you can see here that it's synced with our position in the simulator. So this is the ground chart again of San Francisco, and you can see here we've got this pink aircraft model which indicates exactly the position of my aircraft on the airport. So it means that you stand way less of a chance of getting lost around taxiways, because you'll always have this view of this little pink model moving around the taxiways as you taxi around and as you take off, so that you know exactly what taxiway or intersection or runway that you are on. Avlasoft has various other features with it as well. You can import your flight plans as a whole, and you can do all of your planning. So you can plan your SID on your departure, you can plan your arrival, you can get meta information over here on the right-hand side, so you can see what the weather conditions are like at your departure or your arrival airport, and various other things as well. It will even link into your multiplayer network like VATSIM, which is what I use, and you can see all of the other bits of traffic on VATSIM. So you know, just I guess as another example, what stands are taken. So even before you log on to the network, and maybe you're thinking, I know, let's log on to Alpha 4 today, with Avlasoft and VATSIM properly linked together, and if it's working, you should be able to already see before you log on to the network if somebody is logged onto that Alpha 4 stand, so you know not to spawn on there, because there's nothing more frustrating than spawning into your system, logging onto the VATSIM network or whatever network you fly on, to already find out that somebody has taken your stand. And this is just one of the many features that this new Avlasoft EFB V2 has got, and I love it. I use Avlasoft again every single day. It is my saving grace, and it's really great to be able to visualize not only where you are, but to also, as I say, be able to visualize what your departure SID will look like, what your arrival star will look like, and be able to get all of the relevant information like, you know, restrictions of speed and altitude, etc., etc. Moving back onto vPilot, we talked about it a little bit earlier on, but this is the bit of software, again, that I use to connect up to the VATSIM network. So you can see I've just got the flight plan page shown here. So again, this draws information over FSUIPC and WideFS, if I'm not mistaken, and over my network to the host mode bit of software, which I showed to you guys on the gaming PC. And this is the full client, which is on the gaming, on the streaming system. So I file my flight plans through here and will get all of my contact me messages and any other messages on the VATSIM network through this bit of software, and can change my call sign and disconnect from the network if I need to. And it's just really handy having it on a secondary computer there, because it's mainly handy for me as a streamer, because it means that if I get any private messages through on the network, they don't have to be seen on stream, essentially, for me. So this isn't essential to have your vPilot connected over a network the way that I do. I'm just simply showing you guys how I run my sim. The next bit of software is Professional Flight Planner X, PFPX. Everybody asks me, well, not everybody, but a lot of people ask me, how the heck, Chewy, do you plan your flights? Where do you get all of your flight planning from? There are various other options on what you can do to plan your flights. There's a free option with simbrief.com, which a lot of people use. However, I use Professional Flight Planner X. You can plan your flight here in full. Again, you can decide what airports you want to take off from and to. You can decide what runways, you can decide what aircraft, and there's various different types of aircraft that you can import in and make profiles for. So if we just click on a random one here on a British Airways 777, you know, you can customize all of its weights and various things like that, and its cost index. You can decide on the payload, on how much fuel you want to take, again on the routing and on the alternates. And you've also got advanced features such as ETOPS, and you can even put remarks in there if you really fancy it. So PFPX is great. It looks really confusing at first, and you know, for those of you who may be new to simulating, it's probably like, oh my goodness me, this software looks like there are so many boxes to fill in. But really, it's very, very simple, and it's very, very easy for anybody to pick up and to learn. It takes me approximately 2.5 to 3 minutes, I would say, to plan an entire flight through this bit of software and to be able to export it out. So if I've just got an example here from my live stream the other day where I flew from Atlanta to Washington, you can save the briefing package, so you can get a little text document which gives you all of your information, and you can also export your route. So have a look here. I actually use PFPX to export my route to Avlasoft electronic flight bag. So actually, if we go on to Avlasoft and I click flight plan, sorry, this has come up on another screen. Let me drag this across. Here we go. So if I see here, we've got Atlanta to Washington, which I've exported from PFPX. If I just click finish on that, then it should show me the routing if it's going to decide to work. Why is it always when you're trying to show a video that things don't work? But there you go. Look, so you can see here the routing for ATL and IAD. And you can actually, at the moment, you can see that there's some air traffic control online. So ATL approach is online on VATSIM at the moment. We've got Washington Center as well as approach, and we've also got tower there for DCA. And so this is just, again, another option with Avlasoft and how it can link up with other bits of software. You've got various options on where you want to export your routes to. So, you know, you can export it as a company route to your aircraft, and you can also export the flight plan to VATSIM to file your flight plan on there. Other honorable mentions, I guess, are bits of software which are mainly in my gaming PC, which are actually like right into the simulator. I've talked about FSUIPC, which I use to do autosaves. I also use it for the control bindings for my rudder pedals. GSX, for example, is a great bit of software in the simulator to perform your pushbacks. What else have we got that I can think of? SOD Jetways is also really, really great. It's only available at certain airports at the moment, although it will be expanding in the future. And if there are any more that I can think of off the top of my head, I'll put links to those down in the description as well. But that's it. I've rattled on for 24 minutes now about all of the different things that I have in my simulator. I hope it's been useful to you guys. Again, I've had so many questions about what software I am using in my simulator at the moment. And there we go. I hope I've given you guys a comprehensive enough, but also a concise enough video to show you what I use. Once again, just as a reminder, if you are interested in what my prepared version 4 settings are and my config and everything, all of that will be linked down in the description below. I may do another video on my prepared v4 settings at another date, but at the moment, I'm just going to include it as some screenshots which you can click on and look for yourself down in the description below. So that's going to do it for me today. Thank you so much for tuning into the video. I hope to see you back again soon. I'll be live on Twitch, as always, between Monday and Friday. A link for that also in the description. Lots of links today. And please make sure to subscribe and like the video and leave a comment if you did enjoy it as well. I'll see you again soon. Thanks for tuning into the video, and have a good one.